What's up, everybody? All right, I'm back, and I'm sure nobody saw what happened earlier anyway, and the 5 hours I just took trying to get this to work again. But I think we're good, besides a little bit of quality problems here and there. But we have zero dropped frames now, as opposed to, I think it was 18,000. Um, when I tried to do this earlier, I don't know what happened with the settings on here, but everything got messed up. What? Why is it? It keeps going from like 200 kilobits a second to 3,000, back down to 1,500. Alright, it might be a little choppy during this. I swear, I move the mouse and it drops frames. It, maybe I just have too much shit going on. Whatever. All right, whatever. Let's just get going with this and whatever. Not like anybody's gonna be watching this anyway. So let me start this over. All right, we're gonna watch Breaking Points. I'm gonna draw.
Hey everyone, huge update literally
That's
happened
loud,
live while we were recording the
very
show.
loud.
Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi has officially announced her retirement. She released a new video. Let's take a listen.
I say to my colleagues in the House all the time, no matter what title they have bestowed upon me, Speaker, Leader, Whip, there has been no greater honor for me than to stand on the House floor and say, I speak for the people of San Francisco.
Took her long enough.
I have
man.
truly loved serving as your voice in Congress, and I've always
We
honored
gotta
the
smoke
song of
first,
St.
though.
Francis. Lord, make me an
I
instrument
don't give a
of thy
fuck about you,
peace,
YouTube.
the anthem of our city. That is why I want you, my fellow San
Stick everything makes
Franciscans,
sense
to be the
out.
first to know. I will not be
Smoke my weed.
seeking
I'm gonna
re-election
smoke
to
my weed.
Congress.
Keep it bad, we
With
only
a
lie.
grateful heart, I
Well,
look
they
forward
make
to
one
my
of this
final
shit
year of
anyway.
service as your proud representative. As we go forward, my message to the city I love is this: San Francisco, know your power. We have made history, we have made progress, we have always led the way, and now we must continue to do so.
Wow, there it is. Seismic announcement the days after immediately these elections for the Democrats. Obviously, she stepped down already, had Hakeem Jeffries, but obviously a titan, I think, in the Democratic Party, one of the most efficient power brokers in modern American history, especially up there at the top. A long and storied career. I don't want to give too much of a positive vibe. A lot of destruction, I think, along the way, too.
Hakeem is going to look pretty good, though, in comparison.
You're definitely right on that one, but I'm going to say if we're going to judge on the report card, I wouldn't say it's been all that great. She was a nightmare for Republicans, for Democrats at many times. But, you know, at the very least, I do want to give credit where it is due. People who are 80 years old should move on and get the fuck out. So, you know what?
Not pulling
Thank
a Feinstein here.
You didn't die in
Appreciate
office.
that. Yeah.
I wish that the bar was not that low. Thank you for listening and for leaving. And this blows open the San Francisco primary there. Schweikart, who we had here on the show. Now I think the guy's got a real shot. He actually could win. He's going to be going up against, what is it, Senator Scott Weiner, who is what, more of a,
he's like a
local
California
politician.
state senator. They're very, you know, in terms of their positioning, Scott Weiner is very pro-Israel, you know, APAC recipient, all that sort of stuff. So that'll be a key, you know, dividing line. Shoikat Chakrabarti is AOC's former chief of staff. Very, very thoughtful guy. Ideologically, kind of has the big picture and also the policy details there. Very big student of history as well. I think he and Sagar could spend hours talking to each other about FDR and all of that.
Yeah.
In any case, in addition, the expectation is that one of Pelosi's daughters, Christine, is likely to jump in the race as well. So that hasn't happened yet, but that was the expectation, like from Schweikart. There's been a question for a while now whether Pelosi was going to seek re-election again. Obviously, there's a big conversation in the Democratic Party right now about gerontocracy, with this incredibly elderly leadership and average age, and you know, multiple members literally dying in office. Of course, Dianne Feinstein,
I'm
who
such a dumbass,
very close with, being one of those individuals, and Pelosi would have been, you know, had a front row seat to watching that decline happen. So I think think that probably pushed her more towards the exits as well. Shoykat's challenge, her primary challenge already was one that she was going to have to take seriously. That could have also played a role as well. He had shared some polling with me that looked promising for him when people, learned about his campaign, et cetera. So yeah, now that's going to be a very, very interesting fight. Are San Francisco residents going to go with the nepotism route and say, okay, last name Pelosi, we're going to stick with it? Or are they going to be, part of the sort of Zoran Mamdani left wave reckoning? Are they going to go with the more centrist figure of the established politician there, the state senator? That'll be a really fascinating one to watch.
It's going to be a huge test for her endorsement too, because if she does nominate or she does push her daughter and she endorses her, I don't know. I mean, look, I don't know San Francisco politics like all that well, but she was still pretty popular in her own district. She has survived multiple challenges. Her bid was always, look, I'm the power broker and I'm going to get shit done for you. And I mean, again,
but can you transfer that to your kid?
It's always been that way. I don't know, truly. Like, I have no idea whether the voters would go along with that. I would pray not. I would say that San Francisco is definitely not gotten better under her leadership. If you live there, I think you probably would agree. I think the case has always been, but she's fighting, on a national case. To be fair, congressional elections are not local specifically. It's not really all the stuff that factors in. So I have no idea. It's gonna be a crazy race. But at least the honorable thing, she's leaving. She's left us with the legacy, the stock trade. She single-handedly, her riches with her husband, I think, elevated that issue to the very top. So Nancy, thank you. Thank you for you and your husband trading your way so flagrantly to make that into an issue that a lot of people could seize upon and to push some anti-corruption legislation. I'm trying to think about what else? Like, my God, the financial crisis,
Obamacare. She really, was a key linchpin in being able to get the votes together to get Obamacare across the finish line. I mean, Democrats had a big majority, but they had a lot more blue dog conservative members that they had to grapple with. So that was no easy task. And I mean, the thing that she was very effective at was, first of all, knowing what votes she had, right? She was a huge fundraiser. Just a juggernaut with that, which unfortunately, the way Washington is set up, that is really the key to power. She was a much better tactician than Hakeem Jeffries, for sure.
Oh, no.
She was relished to fight with Trump. Really stared him down, and the border wall funding shut down. I think she really emerged victorious from that particular fight.
All right, so check this out. All right, so on the aces, I noticed that, well, obviously you can tell. So each ace, they're coming out of a cloud. It's a hand coming out of a cloud. And it's holding, cups, pentacles, wands, swords. And then I was thinking, it's because I always thought it was weird that the sky was yellow in some of these. So I know that the minor arcana have a color scheme, but the major I didn't realize. So Queen is yellow here, or it's blue here. King is blue, King is yellow, Knight is yellow. All right, and then I think Pentacles was like gray. Maybe not. I'm just tripping, man. I think whoever this guy was that designed this deck is a madman. Absolutely insane. Some of the stuff doesn't make any sense to what the card is supposed to represent. All right. So I think I somehow answered my question, but he's like, it's black. I gotta redo that one, the magician one, because that one's in color pencil. That's yellow. That's yellow. Sorry. I guess we'll do yellow. Is that gonna look weird though? one thing about using these markers is that they tend to make the image look really crappy until I can put the outlines on it. All right, so the background we could just make gray instead of black. All right, the moon. Let's just do a quick brush up on that before I start coloring it. Mm, yeah. So the moon. We got water, Pisces, intuition, gestation, illusion. Okay. Really like that one. Okay. The full pregnant moon hovers in the night sky, illuminating a path that winds into the far distance. Okay. Did that right. Dog and wolf stand as sentinels. I didn't do that one. I don't want to do that. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah. Let's just go with the yellow first, and then we'll work our way from there. And for all the people watching right now, which is nobody, um, I think the last painting I painted on stream was like, I don't even know if I finished it. I don't even know. I am working on another painting, which is like kind of based on this style, which is very new for me. I'm used to doing all geometric things, but damn that Duncan Goo. Maybe I'll take Squiggles out in a little bit. Squiggles is my snake, and she is a big baby. Another thing about these markers are you have to prime them quite a bit, especially if you haven't used them in a little bit. Wait, not the same color? Why is that not? Really? That should work actually, but I don't know what. Did I put? I guess that is that color. Wow, I'm fucking tripping. Oh, I gotta play the video. Wow. Anybody can tell I'm really good at this streaming thing. It only took me a couple hours to get this.
She was able to really sort of coerce the Democratic caucus into maintaining unity, which was not necessarily, in my view, a positive thing. But from her perspective, And from Democratic leadership perspective, she was certainly very.
She was the
effective in that
master
regard.
tamer. She tamed AOC.
Yep.
She tamed all of the squad. I mean, you got to give it to her. She was LBJ-esque in terms of her control. There are very few like them. There's LBJ. In my lifetime, it's been Harry Reid, Nancy Pelosi. I haven't seen any greats in Congress. I mean, it's been a long time since we saw anybody great who actually was a creature of the institution, could get things not just done, but, you know, really had a harness on the caucus, turned herself to an integral part of the machine, became one of the pioneers of the billionaire, you know, raising money movement.
Oh.
There was nobody better at it.
She understood. She
controlling.
understands power.
100%.
Absolutely
so
understands power.
Fascinating life.
And came
fascinating
from a
life.
Baltimore like Machine Paul
Yeah, her dad was a
family
mayor.
as well. So
Yeah.
she was sort of like raised in that culture, I guess. So there you go.
Rare breed, I guess you could say. So, all right, well, good riddance. Okay, let's get to the tariffs. Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
That's right. Get the full
What does that
show,
do?
help support the future of independent media at breakingpoints.com.
Hide what? Oh yeah, how do you go back? There's no back button. Oh, that's me. Hey, look at that's me. Whoa. That's trippy. I haven't been paying attention to how it's been doing, but man, my algorithm's really messed up. It's either dude, it's literally both sides of the political aisle, like extremes. It's so confusing. Okay, this one's gonna be a good one.
So when I finished my research around Oriana's expedition down the Amazon and the first explorers of the Amazon traveling downriver and exploring into the interior, I was left with a handful of questions about the ancient Amazon and the possible hidden civilizations that exist in the interior of South America that really kept me up at night. Now, the Amazon is probably the most formidable environment in the entire world to explore. It's really one of the last frontiers. You have the Amazon and you have the Sahara, but I would really put the Amazon probably above the Sahara as far as the level of danger that you endure trying to explore that environment, as well as probably the possibility of civilizations just being found on that unexplored and unconquered frontier. It's just that formidable. The entire
should zoom in
environment
more.
of the Amazon
Should probably zoom
has
in more.
completely evolved
chat?
and been
I mean,
bred
right, chat?
for self-defense.
Oh, wait, that's right. Nobody's
It's
watching.
known as a green hell or a green desert. There's very few
Wonder if I should just make
naturally
videos
edible
instead.
foods there. And all of the animals that are there have been
Can I
bred
pan?
and have evolved for this incredibly hostile environment. That, like I said on the last video about Oriana, the food chain of the Amazon really puts human beings somewhere at the bottom, and especially the explorers of the Amazon who have probably never been there before.
Oh.
So my first question about hidden civilizations in the Amazon is, what was El Dorado really? Today we think of El Dorado in the same way we think of it in the Disney movie, that it's a lost Native American city of gold,
too
a
bright.
very, very rich city, or perhaps an entire civilization hidden off somewhere deep in the interior of South America, although Disney puts it in Mexico, which is odd to me, but whatever.
Oh wow, you can see where the
But
camera
that's
changed.
really not actually what El Dorado was, according to the original legend. The original legend came from somewhere in
Weird.
Ecuador or Colombia, and
That
it
looks
was
so much
around
better.
Lake Guatavita in one of the tribes nearby
Huh.
there, probably the Muisca tribe. And they would essentially have this king who
I need
would
to move this
sit
clip. Hold
on a
on.
raft, or it may have even been a golden raft, and he was covered in some kind of gold dust, like either literal gold dust or
It's prob-
thin, malleable sheets of gold that were placed across his body. And then when he reached the center
This
of
book is
this
awesome, by the way.
primordial lake, he would dive in and essentially wash the gold off of him. And it's even thought that they would give gold offerings such as jewelry or ornaments or gold statues, gold artifacts, what have you, into this lake, essentially giving piety to the gods, giving offering to the gods to bless the tribe, possibly to bring the rains for helping harvesting crops and growing crops. That's the original legend of El Dorado. And eventually that evolved into these lost cities of gold that Spaniards would hear about somewhere further off in the interior. Now, Lake Guatavita, it is in the greater region of Amazonia, but not really what we call Amazonia. And these
So
stories of
retarded.
these lost golden civilizations hidden somewhere in the interior of the Amazon began permeating out and spreading their way through this new Spanish colonial world that was being established on the west coast of South America, on the opposite side of the Andes from the Amazon. And so Spaniards became fascinated by this idea, and they saw some glimpses and heard evidence and rumors from tribes on the peripheral of the Amazon of greater civilizations in the interior, but the Spaniards never actually
How is that
found the
shaking?
civilizations. They were too far away, and they never seemed to actually be along the Amazon River. 500 years later, I have the ability to look back on this, knowing much more than the Spaniards exploring the Amazon did at the time, and try to
Is this even
piece
like
together
live
something that makes
chat?
sense.
I don't
And
even,
what I
I
think is that
I'm looking at the wrong
El
thing.
Dorado, the actual legend of El Dorado, probably really was about this gilded one or the golden one, this king who would go out on the lake covered in gold and dive in and wash the gold off of him for the gods.
It's
However, I
disabled?
also think that El Dorado, the legend, meaning lost golden civilizations or hidden civilizations,
Oh,
in
we
the
gotta drop
Amazon
some frames real
is
quick.
also true as well, because
Uh-oh.
we would hear about
I should do this on my
Percy
phone.
Fawcett. He heard about places off in the Amazon as well that were these rich, sophisticated,
Man, that
advanced, large, sprawling
thumbnail is
civilizations.
horrendous.
But he had never actually referred to it as El Dorado. He called it the lost city of Z or Zed. And my impression looking back on this is I think that El Dorado was probably all of the Amazon. I
Am I
think the
live?
entire Amazon was filled with huge, sprawling, shockingly sophisticated civilizations,
fuck.
not only along the river, but in the interiors as well. And I think that even to this day, the Amazon,
happened?
the environment just hasn't been conquered
Please
enough
use
for
keyframe
us to be able
frequency
to
of
really
4
get in
seconds
there
or
and
less.
understand what was going on in
Currently,
that world.
keyframes
But
are
I have no doubts that during the time of Oriana, 1541 to 1542, going down the Amazon River, there definitely were these filthy rich
It
civilizations
doesn't say I dropped
existing within the Amazon, and that by the time Percy Fawcett came, the reason that he may have never actually found them is because Spanish disease had spread throughout the Amazon and had wiped out millions
think
and
we're
millions
okay.
of people, entire civilizations just disappearing overnight and then being
Oh,
swallowed up by the jungle.
Okay, so I am really excited about this. For years now, I've
Can I
been wanting
close
to know
this?
what my DNA percentage results would be. I
Oh,
know
I just-
my family's history going back through the late 18.
I just did this. I'm waiting for my results too. Ooh, I should do that on stream. I didn't even think of that. I almost just closed OBS by accident. That would have been. They should put like a lock on the X thingy because that's like the 8th time I've almost done that. Where did the YouTube chat go? Am I losing my mind here? Sorry, everybody. I mean, nobody. No, I'm saying sorry, Joe. Ah. Come on, YouTube chat. It doesn't really matter, but there we go. Chat disabled. What? How dare you? Let me tell you something. Figuring out how to do this has been quite the journey. Yay! I did it. Okay.
1800s pretty well, but anything before that,
I don't think anybody's chat's gonna show up though, because I only had that figured out through Twitch. Excuse me. Eventually I'll get that. But
it gets pretty fuzzy. And so to get my DNA results, I actually now back to the show.
The next question I have is whether or not Oriana made anything up. This was something that was kind of common among some explorers. They would make up things or exaggerate things to be able to secure funding for their next expedition, because this was, for some of these explorers, this was how they were actually going to make a livelihood, make a name for themselves, become famous, become rich, or secure a second opportunity to go back and perform another major conquest. Now, a lot of scholars think that Oriana was drastically making things up, that the huge snakes and sprawling cities and the mystical towns that he visited and the shamans that he saw, and especially the lighter skinned Amazon women warriors that seem to reflect the legends of the Amazon Greek warriors from Greek mythology, they especially thought that that was made up to try to allure the king into funding another expedition. But I don't know. I think that there were so many things that existed in the American world that he saw that really don't make sense to the Western European mind. And after the Spaniards left, they spread influenza across the Amazon. And every future return that Europeans made into the interior of the Amazon, they found less and less and less of what Oriana was able to find. And as time went on, Europeans became suspicious of Oriana. And by the late 1800s and the early 1900s, during Percy Fawcett's expeditions, they were essentially saying, Oriana, he was just lying about everything that he saw. None of it was true. He was just lying to secure funding. But in reality, I think that probably what happened was that the disease was leaping in front of the Spanish army and wiping out Native Americans.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Because if you really think about, like, I don't know, like when the Spanish came, or like when just imagine like the civilization. Like I live in Massachusetts right now. I always wonder about, where I live, like what, village used to be here, or like what, I don't know, like what settlement, like in ancient history was here, like with the, Native Americans and stuff. I just think people don't realize that like they literally had, you know, like cities and civilizations everywhere, all over this continent, in this country. And it's just crazy that we've wiped them out. It's nuts.
American civilization by the millions. Entire cities were disappearing overnight, again being swallowed up by the jungle to never be seen again. We have to remember that when Pizarro arrived in Peru, the Inca emperor Atahualpa's father was already dying of some kind of disease. And most likely what had happened is in the early 1500s, let's travel out of South America, back up through Mexico, back up into the Caribbean. There were European traders who were poking around on the coast of the Yucatan and interacting with the Maya people. Just barely, not conquesting, not really going inland, but just landing upon the shore, interacting and speaking with these people. Well, they infected those Maya people with European disease, and that disease began sweeping across the Maya world. By the time when Cortez arrived in 1519 on the coast of Veracruz, he was meeting with the Maya people, the Mesoamerican people, and he describes them as small, weak, and sickly. Well, they had been getting sick for the last 2 decades. Now, let's travel to the other side of the Maya world, off the coast of Belize, the Caribbean coast. It's going down Belize, down modern-day Central America, through Panama, spreading into Colombia, and across the Amazon, down into the Inca Empire, where in 1532, Pizarro then arrives. After Cortez has conquered the Aztec Empire, they followed the gold trade routes down into South America. Pizarro arrives, and now this same disease is spreading across the Inca realm. The Inca were in trade and war with the Amazonians, so this disease was also already spreading through the Amazon as well. It was jumping entire continents ahead of the Spaniards. So, the things that Oriana saw, I really highly doubt that he was exaggerating. Maybe they were romanticizing the things that they saw, possibly. But I think that if they were to do that, they probably would have exaggerated much, much more. I just read through the first-hand accounts, the historical sources of Orellana's expedition written by Gaspar de Carvajal, and I really think that if they were going to exaggerate, they would have exaggerated a hell of a lot more. My next question is, were the large cities of the ancient Amazon built along the river, or were they built inland? Now, Orellana went down the stretch of almost the entire Amazon River, where the Coco River meets the Napo River, where the Napo River meets the Amazon. He traveled from there all the way to the mouth of the Amazon. And along this way, he did see really large cities, and some of them made out of stone with complex highways going off inland and large farms. He did find evidence, and he visited sophisticated civilizations. However, none of these civilizations seemed to quench the thirst that he had for something that was more similar to Cusco or Tenochtitlan. So the real question is, when he was hearing about these stories of civilizations and cities that were further inland, he hears about these inland cities.
You know what I should do? I should make like an AI chatbot, since I don't get any viewers and nobody that is going to respond to my questions, and just ask it questions, I guess, until I get somebody in the chat. I don't think that's gonna happen though. I also can't click on the bottom of the chat to type anything in because this seems stupid. It's driving me nuts right now. Oh, what if I slide it over here? Aha! There we go. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Uh-oh. Oh, I can just make it part of this. Oh, that doesn't look good. Okay. Hi, everyone. Did that show up anywhere? No. Okay, okay. Oh, wait, is this still upside down? Oh, no, okay. See, I'm looking at it upside down on my monitor because I had to flip it because my phone is up there, which is looking down, but it's upside down. And it's zooming in. No, that's kind of hard to see, huh? Okay. All right, so it's water. So let's make the path a river coming through the mountain. What's that noise? Oh, it's my phone. See, that's the other problem, is that my phone is the camera up there. So if I get a text, I'm a little screwed. Oh wait, I can use the phone mic. That's probably gonna shut this. It's probably gonna shut the stream down. But I thought I got notifications through this thing, don't I? Oh, here it is. How do I open my? Oh, not here. Sorry, nobody. It's pretty crazy though, because like it's almost more impressive that I don't get any viewers, like ever. Like it doesn't show up on just randomly people's things or anything. Like I see people's things pop up randomly all the time, but it's just weird. Okay. If you're uh, Okay, I'm clicking on my own stream. I'm making myself a viewer. Oh, looks pretty good. Let's like it. Does that do anything? Man. Alright. Yeah. I guess we'll end it here for today. All right, let's go to the outro, and maybe I'll stream later or tomorrow, in like 6 months again. But I think I'm gonna make a video about making the tarot cards because it's been a lot of fun. Okay, everybody have a great day. Peace.